What is the rudest thing anyone has ever said to your face? My youth pastor told me a week after my gay brother died that God had smited him because he was gay and deserved to burn in hell. So I broke his nose and haven't been to church since. The fact that you broke his nose makes me happy. God smited his nose for being an ignorant and hateful fuck. I am of Arabic descent. After September 11th, I was bringing in a big box to a guy at work who just had a kid. It was a stroller, all wrapped up in a nice bow. I get in the elevator, and this lady turns to me and says, "I can't believe they let someone like you in the building with a box," and immediately left the elevator. Every time I would see after that, I would pretend to answer my phone and very loudly say, "Assalamu alaikum, my brother." I'll bet she felt pretty fucking smug about that for the rest of the day. Could be that in her sad little world she still tells that story as the day she stood up to the terrorists. That was the day she saved America. I know she was racist, but why would you piss off someone that you think might have a bomb? I was gonna wait to open this until I got to the top floor, but now I'm just gonna open it here. Then just pull out the stroller and watch her as she pisses herself. Well, maybe not do this as it would reinforce the stereotype. Still would be hilarious though. She knew it wasn't a bomb. She just wanted to remind herself how nice it is to be white. I would have just started counting backwards from 10. Technically not a threat to count while holding a box. I see you've never experienced being brown. About a year after having a car accident and becoming paraplegic. I was 13 at the time and talking to a friend about general life stuff she was worried about. I told her not to get too stressed about things and that I'd be sure she'd do great. Her reply was, "Well, you don't have to worry about these things anymore. My mom says you'll always get what you want now because people will feel sorry for you." One stupid comment that has always made me evaluate everything and everyone around me. Am I doing well in making friends because I deserve it? Or are people acting this way cause of the pity bus? As I've gotten older, I know it's cause I rock everything I do, but those high school years, man. I was at the gym, and a girl told me that I was wasting my time and hers by taking up space and using the equipment. Just FYI, 99% of us are thinking good for you when we see a beginner in the gym. Don't let the 1% of a-holes put you off. Right after she walked off, some guy came over and offered to help show me something else on the machine I was on that would be good for me to try. And he was being nice. I had just gotten off a red-eye flight, and was in the airport bathroom brushing my teeth. When I spit it out, I still had some toothpaste on the side of my mouth. Some snobby lady looked over at me and said, "It looks like you have a little left over on your mouth from your last client." I calmly wiped my mouth, turned to her and said, "Yeah, your husband doesn't have the best aim, does he?" Then walked out of the bathroom. At least I'm not poor with alcoholic parents. I was 10 at the time. Flashes strobe light in my face. "We don't want you here. Can you just seize and die already? I have epilepsy." Who the fuck said that to you? And why? That's horrible. I was diagnosed with epilepsy as a kid, and since then it hasn't really been too much of a problem. I keep on top of my health and I'm fine. Of course, going to college and attending parties, I don't drink. Don't want to risk getting too inebriated and having a seizure. Very few friends actually know the truth, but the consensus is pretty much known by everyone that brain fart over doesn't have more than one drink, if at all, and to leave the little shit alone. So, this gets around that it's the main reason why I don't drink, so now it's almost common knowledge. I'm with a group of people, and for whatever reason I'm real annoying to this one a-hole. He take his flashlight, waves the beam in my face, to which I say, "Not cool," and he says this. Yeah. I walked away. I don't really know what happened after, but he's a real douche, known by everyone. My English teacher once called a girl a sperm collecting trash can in front of the entire class. She never came back. That's pretty harsh. I can understand her not coming back. Maybe a little context would help. This girl was an honor roll student who got involved with a loser boyfriend. He would beat her, spend all her money, even wrecked her car, and she continued to stay with him. Eventually the entire school and teachers found out she was missing class frequently, failing courses, and even opened a joint bank account with this guy, even though he had no income, so it was all her earnings in the account. She was having unprotected sex and started looking unwell, to say the least. She wouldn't listen to friends and she wouldn't listen to family. Eventually her friends got desperate and asked the teacher to talk to her. She came to class one day and the teacher asked if he could speak to her after class. I guess she already knew what he was going to talk about, burst out at him, and as she was walking away he gave her that one-liner calling her a sperm-collecting trash can. We all thought it was harsh also, but the teacher said she had to hear it. She was throwing her life into the trash. Everyone knows there's nothing better for the health and sanity of an abused teen than even more emotional abuse from an authority figure. When did you get out of jail, nigger? Note: I've never been incarcerated or arrested. When I see you dancing, I wish your mother had you aborted, quoth my girlfriend. Edit for those interested. My girlfriend was joking and we are still happily together, but I am not a good dancer. This sub did remind me of something awful I once said to someone. We were 13, best friends at the time, having a heated argument over something long forgotten, and I said, "Yeah, well, at least my mom has tits." His mother had beaten breast cancer and had her breasts surgically removed. I am not a good person or a good dancer. A hippie wannabe screaming at me, and several of my troops, that we should have just died over in the Middle East. This occurred in a crowded airport, as many of us were being welcomed back, met by family. What a shitfuck. Even if you're anti-war, at least be civil about it. I expected one of my guys to pop off on the pseudo-hippie, early 20s neckbeard, in tie-dye, in the late 1990s, but instead he walked over to about 5 feet away, and when the kid paused for breath, my guy simply said loudly for all to hear, "You are welcome for the right to be able to say that stuff," then turned and walked away. I was rather proud. The hippie kid almost had an aneurysm, and was frothing at the mouth with his screaming after that. All the rest of my guys just nodded and walked past. Of course, as I was turning to leave, last in line, I saw several of the rather larger locals who had turned out to do the "welcome back the troops" thing had kind of encircled the cretin. I'm guessing they had a discussion with him after we finished leaving. Not super rude, but my husband told me once, "You could burn lots of calories a day if you do more housework." He only said it once. I'm a widow now. So, where I asked the body. A good housewife never reveals her secrets. Not so much said but done. I was working at a swimming pool store, where I often have to load 50 to 80 pounds bags of sand chemicals into people's cars for them. I am a small, not terribly unattractive girl, and I often had creepy old men stand back and watch me load these heavy bags into their trunks. Not a big deal, they're old. The one that got me was a very muscular guy in his 30s, very capable of loading the 4 or so bags into his car. But he didn't. He stood there with his arms folded and watched me load every one. After I was done, he threw $2 on the ground, told me to pick it up and buy myself something nice. For the record, I didn't pick it up. I know that feel. I'm a fairly small, not too unattractive girl myself. I put cribs and dressers in people's cars for them every now and then. I've noticed that the women always try to help me out, assuming they are not holding a baby. I had a muscular guy watch me load a crib, 5-drawer dresser, and a changing table into his truck. He just smirked. Didn't have to say anything. It was just a smirk. Watching someone struggle to do you a favor that is not required of you says it all. "This is America. We don't find ethnic women attractive," says white guy straight to my brown face. "Wow. You can count." From a douchebag customer at my work. Background: I work as a hostess at a restaurant. When customers come in, it is my job to ask how many or say something along the lines of, "Just the X number of you today?" The reason we ask is because we don't know if you will have more joining your party or not. This allows us to seat you at an appropriate table to accommodate for the number of people you will have. I am not incompetent and can count well, so don't be an a-hole to me just because I work in the food service. Ugh, being a hostess was the worst. One time I sat an old couple 2 tables away from another family in the restaurant, and I hadn't even taken 2 steps away before the old man of the couple stood up and started yelling at me, something along the lines of, "Why would you be so incompetent ASTO think we would want to sit near these people? You are obviously retarded if you think we would sit there. Is that it? Are you retarded? Because it sure as hell seems like it. You should be fired." I've worked plenty of jobs in my time in the workforce, and nothing even got close to the level of rudeness I faced as a hostess. Yeah, I never got the old joke of how many of us do you see? It's fairly obvious to me that you ask in case there are more joining the party later. Unfortunately, these are the same idiots that would be pissed off if you didn't ask and then they had too few chairs. Your other daughter is so fair and so much prettier, said a lady to my mother, while I was standing beside her. Said by a self-righteous black woman while working part-time for a university during orientation weekend. Comprendo, chica? You're in America now. You need to learn how to speak English. Then maybe one of your babies will make it to college like my baby did. I am not Latina, or of Latin American heritage. I was born in America. English is my first language. I was a college student at the time. I've since graduated. It's less about me being offended, I suppose. I was just shocked that someone would ever be that big of an asshat to a complete stranger. The fact that people can single out the one most offensive thing anyone has ever said to them really makes me think I've existed around a great deal of horrible people. What is the rudest thing anyone has ever said to your face? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.